Ding dong! This is so funny. Oh, man. Sorry, you had to laugh because of the pie fight. Today, I'm going to be drawing and painting one of the most hideous costumes that Hidehige Haibe is wearing. So, with that out of the way, let's get started and start painting with a hilarious joke. Pun intended. Now, as we all know for the basics, we first had to find a position to fit the characters in. This is also the first time we had to control your size with what I'm going to get into later. In this content, this is a place where Louis Takahashi and Emily Tanaka are going on a trip for a vacation, and suddenly, later that night, they're heading out to a circus. We see it there. There's Hidehige Aibe and Hidehige Adachi in the circus clown as he wears a ridiculous outfit, while Hidehige Adachi is wearing a tuxedo, being the butler. I was almost concerned that those two aren't going alone, as they have Hidemasa Sakamoto and Chia Harai along with them. I guess I could have added those two, but this is where it ends when Hidehige Adachi humiliates Hidehige Aibe. It's where he's laughing at him at the end of the show when Hidehige Aibe has a pie on his face. Oh, and his hair. I forgot to mention why I put it there. And when the show is over, Louis Takahashi and Emily Tanaka are walking through him and sees how he has a pie on his face. Louis Takahashi was just smirking with his hat on, and Emily Tanaka was giggling, having a cute and silly makeup. I had to put that there, I'm sorry. By the way, the body lines are very competent for the body structures, so seeing the display of all the characters should be happening in any distance, especially with feet that I can see them in this drawing. Even though it's very difficult for every perspective of what it should look like, it has a very instant feel of what they had to feel a little taller or just overgrown height. That was a strange decision that I had to make. I started out with the body lines and now I had to move to the next of the body structure, which is kind of the greatest idea of what it is for the beginning of training, and some of the oddities are here and there due to the zooming cameras and character distance. I don't know, it's very odd, but whenever you start to feel like they're zooming in and being close to you, there are some animation frames that won't really work until I get to higher experience. So on and so forth, everything is already fine and distinct at some point. For right now, I'm creating a path of the sketching path, which I mentioned earlier in the musical idol duet. I forget titles sometimes if I didn't read. But in that video, I already showed you how you can create a pathway if you want to go, and what you want the body structure to look like, whether they're overweight, flat, and sometimes gain a little bit of the height. And because of it, some of the character designs can be very much in the future due to transformations being an idea or just an accidental accident where it should look like where the face is ugly, or when they have a swan eye with such ridiculous form. Basically something that you see in anime transformations, different to the others. For most interesting set pieces like this, a lot of things can be able to happen in designs, such as when they are holding the bottle or a cup of tea, rather than throwing pies. Again, I like seeing people throwing pies where they had to look up at their face, and that's the only feeling that the effects on the characters can feel like, where there's some crummy stuff on their face or they have freckles with them. Some of the actions can be applied to affection too. For example, like making Hidehige Adachi pointing at Hidehige Aibe. He is just taunting him. He's just taunting him and tells him that he has a pie cream on his face, and he's going mad. Hidehige Aibe is mad because he's very angry at what he did. Very angry about the performance that everyone's taunting him, but so many people are laughing at him at some point. Thought that they hate him, but they like him. Come on, everyone's showing up with their talents. Why don't you like it? This is supposed to be talent, not a real life food fight. This reminds me of Ruby playing two chapter ones where they started at first, but the only other anime like this, it couldn't get any better. For some other anime that doesn't involve something like a food fight, it's going to be something like a pie throwing at your face, or some other green pie. No, this isn't going to be Food Wars, and no, this isn't something about the other anime fights. Even though it's going to be a traditional food fight, throwing pies at their face is absolute blessing by making sure there's a taste in their face. That pun. There's an absolute taste where they had to have a cream pie on their head, and eventually they had to look at their lips and their face off, which is completely weird, but a comedy routine. And here's what I found out about the precision balance of the hairlines to the clothing that I'm getting really feel interested to for every change. Literally, since all of us wear different clothes. As I mentioned in the last post, a lot of original characters have their own ways to wear their clothing. And not to say anything embarrassing because there's a lot of dirty stuff going on, but a lot of things can feel like it's real life to you. Even though it's completely feeling of the other people who wash their clothes and when they're dry and you can get them out. That's something you do every day. Here's a generic accessory where they had to wear it on the heads. It's a headgear. Just like the hats, the headgears are wearable in everything they want to do, wherever they go outside, work at an experiment, having a construction site like the motor, and everything cutting the grass. Some other construction site had to look again. But it's basically what all the other accessories can be. Not just hats, but some of the tool belts. Like the belt that I've always drawn for pants, because they need to tighten up. And for something like that, there are also some pockets that can fit into it. Some pockets that you can carry on so you won't have to worry by carrying your hand. For example, when you're using your phone and had so much to carry all the bags, or most of them, you use your phone in your pocket and you can carry your bag with your hands. Or if your arms are ready to feel like you use your backpack, which is a smoothly satisfying thing to do when you have accessories along with your items. I meant accessories as your arms. I'm sorry, I was thinking about it again. But it's a real idea for everything to carry on. There are also some accessories to equip, just like the backpack, which I only mentioned about the bag that you can carry along with, and some of the purses, but only for women. Basically, it's actually the same place for everything else you need to carry, as long as you want them all to put inside. Just in case there's a lot of stuff, you put them in the bag, and you can also try to take them out when you're ready to go out. But that's all I had to say because everything else is new in the future. Alright, I found the path with all three parts of 4 characters. Now I'm going to show you what the technology is abounded to do when you have an iPad along with your iPencil. If many of the digital artists use Adobe Photoshop, then all of this sketchbook is going to be very similar to that. Basically, we use the pressure of your wrist, both light and heavy pressures. When you draw lightly, very slowly, and not go too hard, it's a light pressure, and then you want to be very careful and smoothly, that you want to feel a little thin. And if you press hard when you start to draw rough, it's heavy pressure. Basically, doing anything else when you're trying to do anything else that is feeling hard, you feel like it's a rock underneath, and you want to go hard and press it very tightly. Basically, you can control it with the size and some of the occupancy and the flow of your brushes that you can easily do along with your wrist. And some of the sizes that can be adjustable in every situation. Those are their opening mouths and lips, what they're supposed to shape like. That's coming from some other people who have been experts in anything else like this, where you had to recreate OCs and create landscapes, it's basically a lot more of a training progress. And then it becomes a lot more stable due to the fact it's basically going to be turning into the workaround. Basically an Arabic feel of what you're going around with. This is also where you need to use where if you feel like there's something fading in or fading out, and something's like really going up or going down. When you use a light pressure when there's a thin air to it, you simply have to use the lowest occupancy and smaller size. And when you use a heavy pressure of the highest occupancy and the larger size, you basically notice that you're getting close to the camera when you're blocking the view. The same can be said for the character expressions to their mouths and eyes. When you go to animate character, it goes when they had to feel angry, the lips feel completely tight, unable to speak until it's completely out of what they're going to say. Kind of like Tsuji characters, like Vegeta, for example, goes every time he has the same pride of his own arrogance, being cocky for a prince of all Saiyans. Just saying. When you look at it further, some of the character designs that the line arts can help you guide through is basically when they had to do anything but the ordinary. And everything else but the OC characters can be something for a frantic. But aside from that, some of the characters' clothings can be a lot more changeable depending on what story driven you can take. Even if there's a story follow-up into where they're wearing green, or they're wearing red pants, like with Lil Takahashi earlier, and this drawing, it's basically something that they had to do whenever they had some attributes in their own mind. And when you look at them even deeper, you can see why most of the clothes are made of fabric, but the others can be made of metallic. Even though some of the clothes can be made for knitting, they're made for a lot of fabric feel to it, because of the texture. Mostly, the robotic armor is an example of having a metallic clothing due to the fact they're just going for a fighting name, some of the construction work, or anything else related to the uniforms or outfits. Again, this is very Arabic for all the other masterpieces, or not so like masterpieces, wherever you had to go all about your positions, and some of the line art and landscapes and everything detailed. Especially when it comes to some of the progression of the demonstration. Just like how the fabric materials, like the boxes, can be made out of cardboard box arts and wood. Plus some of the objects / accessories can feel a lot more like a fabric feel. That way you can use the texture of what it should feel like. Or whether you had to feel like there's a lot of bumps, he can use highlights and shadings on all of that, and the golden effect too. It's very likely how much choice of color palettes of shadings and highlights you use, and they already use darkest purple for shadings, that way it feels like the purple night sky, and I use the brightest yellow for the highlight that they feel like it's natural lights in the sky. I meant with technology. I meant to say technology because they have a plug. Seriously, we need technology so we can see better. And as we're almost wrapping it up, the lights come back on when the show is over and they're getting ready to start closing soon. Lil Takahashi and Emily Tanaka are going to have a gush on stage, even though they still laugh at Hidehiko Aibe by having a pie on his face, and Hidehiko Adachi teased them. That's kind of a dark argument there, but it's a very funny comedy show on the raft. So what can you do with the characters that are close to spotlights? For something I already figured out, that you can use a lot of spotlights, shadows on characters, but you can also put a lot of spotlights on the background, just like the cardboard box with colored spots of red, yellow, and blue. And the curtain that is basically pink, basically a pink flower. Where I met pink flower, I met a feathery carpet that has a lot more traditional transparency. 90, I'm at 10% transparency, but it's feeling that way. All in all, there are so many things I forgot about it. Where I always thought all the shades with all 4 characters. I forgot why Hidehiko Aibe is sitting. He's basically sitting without a chair, pretending that he's sitting on it. I forgot that, so I put the chair for him. That way, he won't forget what it should feel like when he's sitting with the invisible chair. Basically a telepathic chameleon. Or for an even better name, a chair-million. A chair chameleon for something that acts similar to the chameleon, but stayed a lot more its behavior of the chair. Now, unfortunately, I really wish there a lot more emphasis of how the chair million, I meant the chair, sticking with the chair million. I wonder why it does until it's attempted to story for its ideas. Maybe. When you thought it was that, does it move on its own? Well, if it was adapted to story, then I would think it would be a lot better if it has a lot of details until that part. Wherever it is a moving chair, but instead we just had to decide that it's behaving like a normal chair. That way it doesn't feel like it's moving. It never does in every chair. However, if we implement it with rockets and with robot technology, it can feel like it's a chair moving around, but that's for another time. Basically for another time where he had to put on the story, he can actually depart some to half and then create another. That's the basic feel until you get all better. A whole lot. Other than that though, everything else can be near in the future due to some people with technology and 3D graphics, just like the animation effects with polygons. Some of the anime has it kind of off with 2D, with inking. Just saying because all of that is a lot more to feature. And we're done! Hidehiko Aibe is a party pooper. That's just another pun, but I'm sorry. Thank you for watching. If you're interested in my artwork, you can check them out on Anime Artimino or some other websites, just like the icons you can see on screen. Don't forget to follow me on Anime Artimino. Until next time, have a good day, happy drawing, and goodbye!